Hello YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives and Lights with a review of the entire PT series of lights from MecArmy. Yeah, you see the lineup there. They have one for each of the major types of lithium-ion battery that's out there. Now, I've already done a previous review of the PT16, so you can check that out. I liked it enough to try the whole series. Alright, let's go through these. These are named after the type of battery that each one takes. The number is the first two numerals of the type of battery it takes. From left to right, the PT16 takes a 16340, 1000 max lumens. The PT10 takes a 10440, 800 lumens. PT14, 900 max lumens, takes a 14500. And the last one, PT18, 1000 max lumens and takes an 18650. Okay, some size and shape comparisons for you. Alright, you got the PT16 next to a Zebra Light SC32, two very compact lights. The PT10 next to a Surefire Titan Plus. The PT14 next to the Nitecore EA11, and the PT18 next to a Nitecore MH20. Now, the takeaway from this comparison is basically that these MecArmy lights are extremely compact, okay? Relative to competitors, the PT16 is quite compact. Basically, these are what they call pocket rockets. Now, what all these have in common, these MecArmys, is the 3-emitter configuration. That allows them to give you very high lumen numbers without overdriving a single emitter. It gives you a flood effect where you get an intense or very bright wall of light, a wide wall of light at close range, but you do sacrifice long range because the reflectors are very small. Operation of the lights is all by that side switch. Okay, the PT16 requires a long press to turn it on, and then individual presses will cycle through the 4 brightness levels. Okay, and a double tap will give strobe. All right, strobe warning. Now it's a little different than the others in the series because it's the first one. In the future, they might change the 16 to work identically to the other 3 in this series. So with the other 3 lights, a single press will turn it on. Then you can hold down the side switch and cycle through all 4 brightness levels, as you see there. Double tap gives you a shortcut to the highest mode. All right, and a triple tap will bring you to the strobe. Okay, strobe warning. Yeah, see, triple tap gives you the strobe. Now, these also all have a momentary on feature that goes to turbo, right? With the PT, well, with all of them except for the 16, you long press and then release momentary on. With the 16, you can short press and it'll do that. So they all have 4 brightness levels and shortcuts to the most important modes. It's very cool that those 3 there are all standardized. You know how to work one, you can work them all. And like I said, wouldn't be surprised if they standardize the PT16 in the future. To install or replace the batteries, you just unscrew that tail assembly there. Now these all come with their own rechargeable battery. Right, and these are all USB rechargeable. You just unscrew the head assembly like that, and you're going to need an adapter like you see there. Now, adapters are sold separately. They're not very expensive. I already had a bunch of those USB to micro USB adapters from a bunch of other lights that I had. So very convenient USB recharging. Now, here are all the batteries that come included with these lights. All right, charging, recharging in my through-night charger. That's a very good charger. It has a readout voltage indicator, the charging progress. It's not very expensive. I will include a link to that recharger. Why would you use this recharger instead of the USB recharging? Well, this allows me to charge all 4 at the same time, and it also will charge them faster than a USB. But USB option is still very convenient if you're on the road or in an office. It's great that these all come with the rechargeable batteries included. The only slight complaint would be that the 18650 is not as high capacity as it could be. It's 2600. It could be a bit more capacity. Okay, at this time I'm going to roll in some outside demonstration footage for all these lights. As I said, I reviewed the PT16 separately, so if you want more footage of the 16, just check out the previous review. Out on the front steps in the middle of the night with the PT10. Okay, I think the most likely use of this would be to light your path or if your porch light went out. Cycling through the 4 brightness levels. As I said, max lumens 800, pretty good. Now this is the PT14 on the testing board. Okay, we're going to cycle through the modes. Again, 4 modes. The maximum lumens on this 900, and that is quite bright. That is quite bright indeed. And panning around with the 14 at the towers of Baton Wood, that's how dark it is without a light. Right, among the pallets, pretty good. Long range shot from the window. That's where we were standing, is from a 2nd story window. So it's not meant as a long range light, but it'll reach, that's about as far as it'll reach. You know, those chairs are quite a stretch. A little closer landmark my bench. Now here is a composite shot that I've put together showing the relative brightness levels at close range of all 4 of these lights. As you can see, basically they're all extremely bright. You know, the PT10, 800, the 14, 900, and the last 2 are 1,000. But really, if you told me the 10 or the 14 were 1,000, I really wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I mean, you know, at these brightness levels, 100 lumens or so, you're just going to see it as extremely bright. You know, all these are pocket rockets. And this is the PT18 on the testing board. All right, cycling through the 4 modes for the PT18. All right, and got some longer range shots coming up. Now, as I said, these are definitely not meant as throwers. Right, they're floodlights with that cluster configuration of emitters. But 1,000 lumens will reach out a bit. You see there a little bit of a closer landmark. Yeah, I've definitely had much longer range lights than this, you know, in previous reviews, but as long as you don't expect it to be something it's not, it's fine. And let's walk back inside with the PT16 lighting our way. As I said, I reviewed this before, so if you want more footage of the 16, just check out that review. But as you can see, it's quite bright, 1,000 lumens in a tiny light, more than able to light your path. Okay, we are back. So, where to get these lights? I got some of these on Amazon. They are now available on Amazon. I will include those links. I also got some of these at GEARBEST.com, and I know people outside the US can't use Amazon, so for those people I will also include the relevant GearBest links, and you can choose what's best for you. And I'll also include a discount code if I can wrangle one from them. But final thoughts on these lights. Pretty innovative. Which is the best one? Probably the 16, just because 1,000 lumens from a light that's about 2.6 inches is crazy bright. The PT10 outguns all other AAA size lights, but the 3 emitter configuration also makes it bulkier than the other AAA size lights. The PT18, I'm not really sure why they didn't make that a bit brighter, considering, you know, isn't that the point of using 3 emitters? But 1,000 lumens, it's at least as bright as the competitors, so if you want a floodlight with a high capacity battery, it's pretty good. Okay, and the PT14, extremely bright for its size. I mean, it's as bright as most 18650 lights would be. But in general, I highly recommend this series. Lots of innovation. If you want a floodlight, I love how compact they are and how they've standardized most of the features throughout the series. Definitely highly recommended. This has been We All Juggle Knives and Lights.